Alright, welcome to this training tutorial for the 2021.5 version of AVID Media Composer. We recently upgraded our AVID editing software from 2018.15 to 2021.5, and we're going to go over some changes and differences and how to navigate the settings. Before you get started, the first thing you're going to need to do is check that all the Nexus drives are connected. Do not attempt to open AVID without these Nexus drives being connected first. This tutorial is for using edit stations within the station here at KWTV News 9. This is not a tutorial for field editing. There will be a separate video for that. Once your Nexus drives are connected, the new icon up here, this purple icon, AVID Media Composer, just go ahead and double click and launch it. And it's okay if the first couple of times you launch it, it takes a while. It may not pop up right away. Sometimes it has taken up to 1 to 2 minutes to launch, especially after it was first updated onto one of the edit bays. So we're just going to let this load. And now the first thing you're going to notice here is a very different looking window for logging in. Down here under host name, you want it to be okc.-pme, your username, and then you just go ahead and log in with your password and log into Media Central. Wait for the icon to turn green. And then initially this box is likely going to be blank. And to get to your projects, go up here to the folder and you want to go to PC, scroll down to the projects drive, go double click News Projects and select folder. And then you can kind of adjust the view and things. But now you can pick from our days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Today's Friday, so we're just going to click on Friday and click Open. Okay, and I'm going to click OK. Now what happened was I've got dual monitors here, but I can only screen record into one. So I've got to get it over on the other screen. Hold on, I'm trying to do that right now. There we go. And then what you're not seeing right now, this is blank right now. This is actually AVID, but what you're not seeing is on the other screen, the dual monitor, are these windows. And so unlike previous versions of AVID, you can actually move these tool windows outside of the main AVID Composer screen here or background. I guess there can be benefits to that. To me, I don't like it. I think it makes it a little harder to navigate, but I'm pulling all these over right now. And so here we have the project. Now, initially when you open, this project window is not going to be open. AVID's going to open up and it's not going to be there. Now, previous versions, it would be there. It's okay. You just go to Tools and Open Project. So there you go. The next thing you're going to notice, compared to the old version of AVID, is we no longer have these tabs up here that said bins, settings, all that. There's also no effect palette icon to be able to get to the effect palette. So to get to your settings, you have to go to File, Settings, and your settings window will open. Under here is your format, project. This is where you'll find dynamic relink. And here is your dynamic relink settings. They should always be matching this. So the top two, these two are enabled. Most recent, use high quality, We'll close that. Go to media creation. The biggest thing you want to make sure, AVC Intro 50, News V drive, apply all. This is new. The video wrapper format, this is new, but there's only one option for us, AVID OP Atom, so you don't need to worry about that. Under user, this is where you find various settings that we saw in the previous versions. And let's start at the top. Each new edit bay, every time you log into an edit bay for the first time, you're going to have to go through these settings and set these. After that, when you log into that particular edit bay, these all should stay the same. First, we're going to start with audio, and you want to make sure you're set on alternating left-right. That's really important. So we'll close that. As we scroll down through here, some different options here. The next one we're going to go to is import, and under audio, we want to make sure this apply attenuation gain effect on import, make sure that is not checked. Uncheck that if it is checked. We are then going to go to link. And under volume mounting, make sure these three are checked. You want to make sure auto link to volumes is checked so that when you put your SD card in or your P2 card, it auto populates your video into your bin. Go down here to NRCS. The server should be KWTV-A. The default username should be editing with a capital E. We'll go down to transfer. On the bottom here, we want to make sure we have this checked, transcode before sending to playback. What this will do is if you have any mixed resolution video, in the past your sequence would have a little pink icon, and the only way we could get anything to send back to the show was to do a video mixdown to make sure it was AVC Intro 50. By this being checked, now you don't need to do video mixdowns. You should be able to send directly to the show, and any video in your sequence that is not AVC Intro 50, AVID will transcode it and send it to playback. It's a great feature when it works. And that does it for our settings for now. I'm going to go open my production management window, which opened in another bin over there. And right now I'm using floating windows, which I'll go over the feature here in a minute, but AVID now has the ability to interlock windows, and we'll go over that at the end of this. So I need to find some video just to show you a couple features here. So I'm going to take this piece of video right here. This was a CBS package from NewsPath. There it is. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a new bin. And to create a bin over here, just right click, new bin, and a bin opens up like that. Right click, new sequence if you want to create a sequence that way instead of the NRCS. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this video up here for now so I can have a piece of video to work with. I'm actually going to close this production management window for now because I'm kind of limited with space on the single screen. So I have this piece of video. One of the big changes with AVID is the audio scrubbing. So audio scrubbing has always been the caps lock key on your keyboard. You turn on the caps lock and you scroll and you should be able to hear your audio. That has now changed. So to get your audio scrubbing back, there's two ways to do that. One, you go to Tools, go to Command Palette, and under Play, over here you'll see Toggle Digital Audio Scrub. We want to pull that down here and make that a button. And you'll see, actually, I already had it because I've already kind of mapped everything I needed here. So a couple of things. One, you want that down here. And if I close this, now you'll see I don't hear anything when I scrub or scroll. But if I turn that on, now I can hear what's there. Turn it off. There you go. But it's more convenient to have that mapped to the keyboard. Unfortunately, you cannot map it to the caps lock key anymore. But you can map it to another key, and I always map it to the Tab key. To map this, just go to your Tools and Command Palette, and then go to your Settings. And under User, you want to find Keyboard. Double click on it. And all we're going to do is take this little out of the command palette, and we're going to drag it onto the tab, which I had already kind of done right here. And then you just close the keyboard, close your settings, and now nothing, but if I hit tab, I have audio scrubbing. So that's how you fix the audio scrubbing in the 2021 version. So the next thing is there's several things that I've already mapped here that are not going to be here that you're going to need. And those are all found in the command palette, and I will show you where each one is at as I walk through these. The first one that we use is down here, and this is our audio mix mode. This changes between stereo and mono. We always edit stereo, split track audio, such and such, but we like to switch to mono to check it before we send it to make sure all of our levels are correct. That's not going to be down here. Now with the command palette open, you can move buttons like that. And I moved all these kind of down because I like my audio mix mode to be one of the first things. It's a preference. The other thing that's not here by default is in the old version of AVID, over here left of your track lines used to be a set of arrows and settings for segment mode. Those are gone. They are up here under Edit. You can have your segment mode lift overwrite, segment mode extract, and that what segment mode does, if you're not familiar, lets you drag things around on your timeline. But you can map these and put them right here, so they're going to be there. The next thing you're going to need under Effects, FX, Motion Effect Editor right here. And I've mapped that down here, and what that is basically lets you make your slow motion videos. So if I were to do an in, let's say I want that slow mode, in, out, coronavirus, hit the motion effect editor, I can make it 50%, I can do fit to fill if I have a certain space down here I want to have it fill, and then it creates a new clip over here. So you should already know how to use that stuff, but there you go. So that takes care of that. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is tabs. In the old version of Media Composer, these tabs used to be on top. And what you could do is you could put multiple tools or multiple bins together in one window to save space, which is very useful when you're using a single window such as this. So if I were to open another bin, let's say we have this, and I'm working out of 2 bins here. Well, what I can do is by holding down Alt on the keyboard, I can click and drag this over, and click and drag if I want to change it. And now you have 2 bins in one window, and you can switch between bins like that. Very useful, very convenient, saves space, etc., etc. You can do the same thing over here if I wanted to. I've got a project window, but I have an audio mixer, and I don't have a lot of space, so maybe I'm just going to combine these two. And now I can tab between the two to adjust my audio. Saves me more space. So now maybe I have that here, and then my bin, I'm going to put it over here. Like this. So I can tab between bins. I can tab between projects. You can do the same thing here. You can change your windows and put another tab here. You can add your timecode window. A lot of different things you can do, a lot of different setups. So that's the tab. So now really with everything set up, you're ready to edit. Like everything else is pretty much the same. Consolidating video is the same. Sending to playback is the same. Exporting is pretty much the same. And here with the floating windows, this is just like the old version. You can move things around. When you get the workspace the way you want it, so let's say this setup is what you want. You can go to Windows, Workspaces, and you'll see I have several set up with my name. But if I wanted to create a new one, just say New Workspace, give it a name, and hit OK. And then what happens is you open up AVID, things are different, jumbled around, or you get to editing, moving things around. You can go up here to Windows, Workspaces, and you can go ahead and just click on one of these, and it'll reset all your windows. And pretty neat. I'm not going to change anything yet because I have another thing I need to show you. But that's how you save your workspace, so that it's the same every time you open it. Unfortunately, you do have to set up your workspace on each individual edit bay. We don't import settings between edit bays, so but once you do it the first time, it's done. So now the last thing I'm going to go over is AVID's new feature, which is interlocking windows. And I'll tell you, initially setting these up and getting them configured the way you like is really kind of a pain. But once they're set up, I really like it because it keeps everything nice, neat, and organized. And you have two options with interlocking windows. You can interlock a couple of windows that make one big window, or you can interlock the entire thing onto this AVID background so that when you move, you'll notice if I move, let me minimize. So I just minimize that window, and you see it moves around, like I can move it, but they're actually AVID, the windows will set up outside. And it's easier to show you this when it's in a dual monitor. It's hard to show in a single monitor, but anyway, so we're going to lock all this together. And really what this is very similar to what Adobe Premiere already offers with the interlocking windows. So if you've used Adobe Premiere and you use AVID, you're going to be familiar with this. So to interlock a window, let's say I'm going to interlock these, my source and program monitor, my timecode window, and my timeline. I want to all interlock it. So to do that, right here in the corner, you'll see these little slash lines that remind me of zebras, camera zebras. If I click that and I go up here, see how it creates a white box and I let go? Now it's just linked my monitor and my timecode window together. So they all kind of move together. Then I'm going to add my timeline, and then I pull this down, and I pull this down, and there you go. Now, if I move this, look at this, these are all locked together and moving together. Okay? Then I can take these here, and I can add them right there. I've got my project. And then I can pull this to widen it out. And then bins you can leave floating, or you can even add these in here. So if I want to lock a bin, if I want to pull this, so now I widen this out. And now I've got my bins, I've got my project and my audio meter or audio mixer. I can adjust up and down. Pretty neat. So now it's all locked together. Now if I move this window back here, see that? The main window still doesn't follow with it. But what you can do is lock all of this into this back window. If you go right like that, and what that did was, I should mention, to unlock windows, you just click and drag and pull it, and they just start unlocking like that. We'll disconnect everything. And then I got to shrink this stuff down, because I'm going to show you now how to lock everything within that back window and keep it really nice and neat and organized. So I'm going to minimize everything except, so what I did is the project window, I drug it, let's pull that out. Okay, so you have a whole bunch of these little windows, right? And we want to put it all within this background. So it's all locked into one. And when we move all this, everything moves. First with the project window or the bins window or whichever one you're using, we'll use the project one. I'm going to drag that. See how the whole thing turned white? Let go. This whole thing, background, became my project and my audio mixer. Now with my monitors, I'm going to pull that over here, and that created that. Now with the timeline, I'm going to drag it down here, and then I'm going to do my timecode window, put it in between, and then I'm going to put my bins over here. And I can drag like that, like that. And then also something else you'll use often is the NRCS tool. It opened in the other monitor, so I'm dragging it over. We can add it down here like that if we want. Or if we pull out the audio, make that a little bigger, and then you can set that here. So projects and audio mixer there. Make that a little, if you want bigger, smaller, drag things around. See how it's all interlocked, and then you have that. The other thing you probably would need is tools, you need your production management window. And see, things start getting a little jumbled and getting a little tight. So in this situation with a single monitor, I might pull out the timecode window, because we do have timecode up here, and I may insert my my windows are starting to get a little small here, but timeline, then I have my production management window, I have my NRCS, I have my bins right here. So now it's all interlocked, and if I minimize that, it looks bigger because it's now set for a dual monitor. I've drug it, half of it, over to the other monitor. So I'll go back here and I'll set it back. But when you drag this, it all moves together. And then again, with the interlocking, you can go up here, Windows, Workspaces, New Workspace, and you could call this, I could call this mic locked. And then I save it. You know, when I had floating windows, I could save it as mic, and then you have mic locked. You have two different workspaces. You have one with floating windows, one with locked windows. And then, because if you're one of our reporters or MMJs, then you often go from dual monitor at the station to a single monitor on your laptop. So you could set one for your name and field, and for field editing. So you can set multiple workspaces. And then when you do set a workspace, up here in the right corner, if you can navigate to Windows Workspaces, or you can go right up here in the corner and you can go select one of them. And the one highlighted purple is the one that you're in. So that's pretty much it. Now, ready to go. I'm ready to edit. And everything else works pretty much like the old AVID, with a few hiccups here and there. But overall, I will say, after a month of testing this and putting it through the ringer, unlike previous versions of AVID, anybody who knows me knows I'm not a big fan of AVID, but this version, I haven't had it crash. It has not been as taxing on the laptops. They're not overheating like they were with the 2018 version. It just seems a little smoother, faster transcoding and consolidating clips, faster exports. So at least for now, I'm pleasantly surprised and pleased with the 2021 version of AVID Media Composer. That's it. If you have any questions, please come see me, Michael Johnson, Chief Photographer at KWTV News 9. I'll be happy to help you out with anything. Again, this is kind of a refresher. You all should have already been trained on how to do this, but if there's anything you forget, this is just kind of a run through of the new version. That's it. Have fun editing and take care.